All right, hello everyone, and Professor Wilson here, and I am going to try to help you out a little bit on this first test by giving you a guide to taking the test and also discussing some of the questions. I realize that the online, the flexibility of the online program is what draws people to the online program. And then, of course, the disadvantage is the lack of contact sometimes that you can get in a face-to-face class. But what we can do here is I can do the practice test, because when it comes down to it, it's the test grades that are going to determine how well you do in the class. And so while the homework is important, you have to remember that the job of the homework is to make you ready for the test. And so what I'm showing you right now is just a tool for you to be better prepared for this test that you're about to take. The test will be on chapter 9 and 10. There's two ways that you can get the test. And I recommend everyone do this because most students that do this actually make way higher grades than those who do not. The first thing you can do is go to document sharing. If you go to document sharing, you'll see chapter 9, chapter 10 here. You can simply download it from here. The other way to do this would be to go to, let me go back to the main menu here. Okay, where it says start here, and you see Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3. Those 3 units correspond with the 3 tests. If you click Unit 1, and you see all the assignments in Unit 1, and by the way, all these assignments are due by the 22nd. And I think I sent an email that said the last 4 were due on the 23rd. And basically, the unit review is the practice test. So if you click that, you'll see the same practice test that I am about to show you now. I'm just using the printed out version. The other thing that you need to know is that the answers to the practice test are on the back, or on the last page. So the most important thing for you to do is to check your answers with the answers that are on the back and make sure that they're okay. All right, so let's go through some of these just a little bit, just so because this is how the test is going to look. Okay, hopefully these should be pretty simple for you. With the here with 10, 9, 10, and 11, you use distributive. So that just means you're distributing this negative. So everything in here will change. This sign will change. And this one, the 1/3 will go to the 9, and the 1/3 will go to the 6. So it will look like, let me see if I can still see, make sure you can see me. Can you see it? So the 1/3 goes to the 9, the 1/3 goes to the 6. Right? I would suggest you put it on when you're writing it. It may be helpful to even put 9x like that, because that's what's in there, and put it over 1. Some people cross multiply, some just multiply it out. In essence, what happens is if you multiply it this way, it's 9x over 3, which 9 divided by 3 is 3, so you have 3x. Right? Then you do the same thing with the 6, 1/3 times. You want that negative in there. Don't see it as a subtraction sign. See it as a negative sign belonging to the 6. So it's negative 6 over 1. That's going to give you negative 6 over 3. And negative divided by positive is a negative. That's minus 2. So your final answer is 3x minus 2. And that's what you should have for the number 10. Okay. Now, if we look at additive inverse, just means the opposite. So that's just changing the sign. Same thing with multiplicative inverse. Well, no, multiplicative inverse is what the textbook definition of a multiplicative inverse is what would you multiply to this number to get a 1. Right? So the answer would be negative 1 over 14, but they kind of give you a hint by saying reciprocal. So that just means that you put it on the bottom. You want to keep that sign the same. So that would be your answer for number 14. All right, now, with some of these ones, problems where you have to solve the equation, let's just go over a couple of these. Let me do 19. Let's do 22. Trying to do ones that may look a little bit difficult here because I know those are on the test. Let's do 26. Let's do 27. All right, so you're not able to use calculators on the test. Calculators are not allowed, so you will have to practice. I would definitely take this test before the actual test day. Do not wait till Saturday, the day of the test, to take it, because your brain doesn't have time to apply and assimilate the information. So you want to take it the day before or a couple days before if you can. Let's do 19 here. So 19 is negative 7x plus 4, negative 3x minus 4 equals negative 26 minus 9x. And I'm sorry, I'm left-handed, so I may be covering up some of the screen here. Okay. Using order of operations, using please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, PEMDAS, that's one thing that you can write down when you first take the test at the top of the test so that you can kind of remember that order of operations. And we see here that we need to do this first by distributing. So I wouldn't touch that. In fact, I would bring it down. And then you have 4 times 3, which is negative 12. Make sure you bring down that x. And 4 times 4, which is negative 16. Now, what I generally do is I do the problem. Sometimes I'll make mistakes on camera, and it's okay because if I make a mistake, I'm just going to check it against the answer, and then I'm going to show you how we would find our mistakes. At this step here, you need to make sure that you always simplify both sides before you do anything else. This side is simplified already because an x can't be added to a non-x number. However, this can be combined, so we have to simplify that by combining like terms. When we add those together, it's going to be 12 plus 7 because the signs are the same. So if signs are the same, we add. We keep the x there. We bring down the 16. We bring down the 26. We bring down the 9x. Okay? And at this point, it's kind of up to you what you want to do. Some people add the 16. Some add 26, some add 9, some add 19. I like to do what will make the x positive. I like to start from the x side, and what would make the x positive would be doing the opposite, okay, or the additive inverse of negative 19, which is a positive 19, and of course, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to both. So that's going to go to cancel. That's going to cancel out. This is going to give me, remember these signs are different, so you have to subtract. Be very careful with the signs because a lot of people make sign mistakes a lot when I'm grading. I notice that a lot. So this is going to be 10 if I subtract, and I'm bringing down everything else. It's a positive 10, so I'm going to make sure I put that between there. And remember, a lot of math is organization, so by showing me this work, then I'm going to be able to see that you know what you're doing here. Then after this, I've got the x on this side, which means I need to get rid of the 26 by adding the 26 to both sides. Here looks like 10x equals, right? I'm going to subtract those, and it looks like I'm going to get a 10, positive 10. If I divide both sides by 10, then x equals 1. And then if I look at problem number 19, at the back, where is it here? And we see that the answer is 1. So I can circle that because that is the answer. All right, let's all right, I'm trying to write big enough for everyone to see what I'm doing here. Let's look at 22. 22 is, and one thing that you can do while I'm doing this is to do it with me, because if you're writing these out, especially if you're having problems with it, the best way to understand mathematics is by doing it. That's why doing the homework is the best practice for a test, not watching, but doing it, because doing it is going to give you the practice, as opposed to watching it when you're forcing your brain. But actually doing it is where you're giving your brain the proper application. So make sure you do these problems, right, and not just watch me. Even do them along with me. Let me go get a piece of paper. Let me pause this here. Get a piece of paper. Okay. Now I'm gonna put this on a different sheet here. So 22. Okay. So let's write down this problem, and let's say 22 is 2x over 5 minus x over 3 equals 3. Well, what would most of you do to solve this problem here? Do you remember what the lesson said to do? Some of you may not remember that. And the instructions were, we only have one job at this problem, and that is to get rid of your denominators. Uh-oh. We have to get rid of our denominators. And the way that you get rid of the denominators in this problem is by using the LCD. The LCD of 5 and 3. Well, both of those will go into 15. So the LCD is 15. So what you're supposed to do is you take that 15 and you multiply each term by the 15. But remember what we're supposed to be doing. Our goal here is to get rid of the denominator. That's why we're doing that with the 15. Okay, so here we have let me rewrite this so you can see it easier. I have a 15 times 2x, and that's over a 5. I have a minus sign. I have a 15 times an x over a 3. And I have a 3 times 15. 15 by each term. That is how we get rid of the denominator. Why? Because I can simply rewrite. Now I'm going to put an extra step in here. That it's not necessary to put the extra step in here. Some people may say 15 times 2 is 30 and put that 30x and put it over 5, and they may do it that way. But I'm going to teach it. So that's one way to do it. But the idea though is that you would cancel at this level here, and that you would say 5 goes into 5 one time and 5 goes into 15 3 times. So the idea is, and I'm going to put an extra step here, you don't actually have to write this, that if I were to rewrite it like this, see, 15 over 5 is 3, and that 3 times 2 is 6, giving us the same thing here. But to show you that there are multiple ways to do it. So it really doesn't matter if you want to say 15 times x is 15x, put it over 3, and then make it 5, right? Which is one way to do it. If you are struggling with this, you can just multiply the tops and put them over the bottoms. Or you can do it this way, where you have the 15 and the 3 there, 15 divided by 3, multiplied by the x. We know that that's 5, so that's going to be 5x. 3 times 15 is 45. So this is an easy problem. 6 minus 5 is 1, making it an x equals 45. Okay. What problem is this? 22? Okay. See it there? Now, get rid of the denominator. So all of these problems here that are like test problems, our goal is the same, to get rid of the denominators. Now you won't have that with these, and you don't have that with these. But with these problems, and that's the one, these are the problems that people get stuck on. So that's why I wanted to show you this. Same thing here. See, there's a 5 and a 7 here. Well, what's the common denominator? Well, it's 35. So you would just multiply 35 by both sides. And remember, the goal is not to start. You don't want to do distributive. You want to say 5 goes into 5 one time and 5 goes into 35 7 times. Then you distribute. Right, and actually an easier way to do this problem would be cross multiply, but I'm showing you the way that the book showed. Okay, so again, least common denominator on 24 is 5. You do a 5 and you go. You can cancel those 5s out, you see. So to make a really easy problem, a minus 1 equals 25, and then you go on. All right, so 26 is the one that I had Now, I realize I'm going fast here because this is not an actual class. I'm just trying to help you with some of these. All right, so 26, what do we have? 4. There's a reason I'm showing 26. Number one, it is I believe it's a test problem. It looks just like this, and every year people get this one wrong. So I'm going to give you guys the benefit of seeing it beforehand. What do you think everybody does on this problem? What do they do first? They distribute the 4. That's right. They distribute the 4, and they don't need to distribute the 4 because our goal, when we have a fraction, our goal is get rid of the denominator. What is the denominator? 3. Well, if all we have is a 3, then the least common denominator is automatically 3. So our goal then is to get rid of the denominator by multiplying the numerator by 3. I'm going to put a 3 here and a 3 here. Now, it doesn't really matter where I put it. I could have put it on the left side. The important thing to know is that in the same way that I got rid of the 15 over here, by canceling it with the denominator, I'm going to get rid of the 3 here by canceling it with the denominator. Once I take those 3's out, they're gone. So I can bring down whatever is left. The 4 is left, the 7 minus x is left, the equal sign is left, and the 3x is left. Okay, most of you can do the problem from there, so we can stop there. So let me go on. When you get to 27, if you see a problem that has decimals, all I need you to remember is what they're actually wanting you to do is to move the decimals over. They want to know if you know how many places to move the decimal over. So as you can see here, you have to move it 2 in order for it to be after the 2. See the 2, this one, 2, this one. I don't see a good example here. But if you were to see a problem like this, let's say 5x equals 2.5. Let's say you see a problem like this. This is a problem that a lot of people mess up because what they'll do is they'll move it 2 here, but only 1 here. No, you got to be consistent with mathematics. So if this is moving 2, then that's got to move 2. That means you got to add a 0. So everything needs to move the same amount of times. So I didn't see a problem that forced you to do that. But if you get a test problem, just kind of remember that. So what's going to happen with 27 is, let's go here. I'm going to go ahead and move them straight instead of writing the problem out. Okay, so this changes to a 2, right? Once we move the decimal twice. 2y. 15. Do not change anything in here, okay? Because the 15 on the outside is already affecting everything in the inside. So by changing the 15, you have in essence changed both of these. So you don't need to touch those. So I'm going to put 7,000 minus y equals, and then we change this, 37y. And then you go on. Okay, distribute. All right, should I do the problem? Yeah, let's hurry up and do it. I'm gonna go fast though, so you're gonna have to rewind the video. 15 times 7. Okay, so now you don't have a calculator. What do? You go over here. You put the 15 times 7. You do it that way. Okay, 7 times 5, 35. All right, plus 3, 38. Oops. No, yeah. No, I think hold on. I messed that up. Sometimes 5 is 35. 7 times 1 is 7 plus. Thank you. What was I thinking? Anyway, yeah, I multiplied the 5 twice. So it's not 7 though, it's 7,000. So there's 3 zeros added. I'm gonna add those 3 zeros here. Okay, so then that gives me 105 0, 0, 0. Minus 15 times y equals 37y. I'm going to combine these two first because I always have to simplify first by subtracting because the signs are different. That's going to give me a negative 13y. And my other big number is just going to come on down. That's gone because I combined those to get that. And then 37y. Now I need to add 13 to both sides. That gives me 50y. And then of course whenever you get that number, obviously 50 is going to go in. Remember, you got to go 50 on both sides. And one thing you could do to make the problem easier is to cancel that 0 out with that 0. Then that would only give you 5 like this. And you can just simply say that goes in 2, that goes in 1, bring up your zeros like that. Now, 27, as you can see, is 2100. So, all right, follow along, son. I'm going fast because I'm showing process. I'm not the small math. I'm confident that most of you know how to do the tinier stuff. The thing that I'm concerned about is setting up the problem and knowing what to do at the beginning. So that's why I'm kind of rushing through the rest of it. Anyway, that's pretty much all I'm going to go for today. I just kind of wanted to give you, remember, all of the answers are on the back, okay? So please review it, see how well you do. If you have a problem and you can't get an answer right and you've done it a bunch of times, just take a picture or snap a copy of it and email it to me and let me see if I can help you figure it out, okay? Good luck on the test, and we will see everybody Saturday unless you are scheduled to do it before.